Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
Welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, the next-gen guide to car collecting. We're going to have an interview with the author, Rpobert Yeager, right here on this very program.
Cool.
Mr. Mars reviews the new Mercedes-Benz C-Class 300 sedan.
Yes, sir.
Conrad has the events calendar, and we'll have a look at the stories making news headlines. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. We need more, Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Conrad's out because of COVID, and he should be back with us next week. But thank you for joining us today. We've got our act together, we think, as far as our broadcasting signal is concerned.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't say anything.
Oh, my goodness.
So our next guest, he's written a book called The Next Gen Guide to Car Collecting. When I saw this come across my computer, I said, Mars, we need to get Rpobert Yeager on the line because this is something that I want to talk about. We've thought about it. We don't know of anybody that has written a book except you, because to us, this is kind of like the holy grail of how to car collect for the next generation. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. He's muted. Okay. Can you unmute yourself, Rpobert? Somewhere on that screen it says mute and not mute.
Yeah, well, you've hit the nail on the head, Michael. The purpose of the book was really to welcome the gateway collector, the person that's in their late 30s to early 50s and is really starting to take a look at their first collector car. Now, I also hope that experienced collectors will enjoy the book. I try to include a lot of history and kind of the ontology of the automobile, if you will, going all the way back to 1769 with the first steam car, first self-propelled car, really. Quite an awkward vehicle, if you saw the picture in the book, with a big heavy drum in the front of steam, and very difficult to steer because of the front weight. And in fact, it was also, besides being the first self-propelled car, it was the first car to be involved in an accident.
Kind of like the Fred Flintstone car.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Rpobert, how long did it take? This is so in-depth and great pictures. It must have taken you quite some time to put this book together.
Well, I've been writing about collector and enthusiast cars for about 12 years for the New York Times. And as I was going through my reporting, and particularly I would say after about 2014 or 2015, I started to sense a real shift in the demographics of car collecting and moving much more to a younger collector and a first-time collector. And I, of course, checked with all things numeric at Hagerty. And they were picking up the same kind of data. And I don't know, I just, I started to outline the book, and then it just kind of fell into place. I wanted to have it be a book that would be basic for the beginner, but yet sophisticated enough to be of use to people who are car collectors now.
Yeah, and that was my question. And when you did your research, and you used many sources to do this, how did you make the selection on what car collectors to possibly feature in the book?
Well, that's a very good question. I wasn't really after, collectors that are multimillionaires. I was after smaller collectors, and I have some friends in the enthusiasm that fit that bill. And I credited some of them, a man named Hank Johnson in Arizona, my friend Ed Adams in Berkeley, California. And being where I am in the Bay Area, I was very fortunate that there were two father-son teams here that are really internationally known. One is Patrick Otis in Berkeley, who's a internationally known restorer and racer of Ferrari, vintage Ferraris, and his son Tazio, who is now an active racer and just got back from Goodwood, actually. And Patrick is I think 71, and Tazio, his son, is 26. And then the other father-son team that was in the Bay Area are Bruce and Spencer Trenery, who own the Fantasy Junction dealership, and it's it's been in business for 40 years. They're world renowned for the kind of cars that they sell and feature on their showroom. And so I made it a point to wind the book up with verbatim interviews of those two father and son teams. Wow. And find out what they thought the future would look like, where they are now, and how they feel about where the hobby's going.
Well, I was going to ask you about the resurgence of the popularity of muscle cars, and over the past 15, 20 years, that thing has really exploded, and to the point where I think that it's priced out of the next gen collector. And so where would you suggest somebody that is looking for something maybe around a muscle car that isn't as expensive as a restored muscle car to begin a collection?
Well, the other thing that I noticed as I was doing my reporting was that more and more collectors are coming up to the 90s. I say coming up because they're moving up from cars in the 60s, 70s, yes. 80s. And I was just looking at a car yesterday, the sort of early 2000 Ford Thunderbirds. Now, it's not really it's not a real muscle car, but it's got enough power, and those things are selling for $12,000 or $14,000 in very good condition, and it's a very pretty car. I think it's maybe the handsomest one since the famous Thunderbirds of the 50s. It's nicely proportioned. It has that sort of Italian flair, and that would be a car that I would think of. And I had to make some tough decisions. For example, in the European cars that we recommend, we don't, and I'm not really recommending. I just wanted to have a kind of a toe dipping feeling for those chapters. They're a starting point. But one decision I made was with the Porsches. And Porsche is the best-selling car on Bring a Trailer. It's maybe the 911 is just gone through the roof. But, the kind of collectors that I wanted to make sure we included in the book aren't going to spend $300,000 on a car, but they might be able to spend 50 or 60 on a Porsche 912 instead of a 911. And you know what? If you're starting out, the 912 is an easier car to drive, and it's safer, and it still has the body, the famous body. It still has the great handling and everything, but it's not quite as front end twitchy, and it's sure a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
What about those? How do you address those people that, let's say, look, I want to start a collection, but I've only got $40,000 to spend on a car. Would you suggest going to an auction? Would you go to an online auction or an in-person auction? Would you try to reach out to maybe somebody that's online that has a collection now and they're willing to get rid of a couple of their lower-end cars? Because when you're talking about car collecting, we're not talking about, generally speaking, cars that you would put back on the street. You would want to preserve it and start a collection, something that you could show. Address that if you would.
Well, first of all, I would definitely want a first car to be a car that I would drive. Not just put it in a garage and look at it. But the other thing that happened during this past decade or so of my reporting for the Times is the enormous explosion of the internet as a marketplace. And here is another fortunate thing about my location, because right across the bay in a brick warehouse in San Francisco's Potrero Hill district, that's where Bring a Trailer started. And I was there pretty much as they were kind of starting to get rolling and really go. This year, Bring a Trailer is probably going to sell $1 billion worth of cars.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, there's very little chance that they won't make it. They almost made it last year. And, it's revolutionized the marketplace. And having gone kind of deep into how they work, and Randy Nonnenberg, how he really started the whole company, they're very carefully curated, those cars. That when somebody wants to put a car and Bring a Trailer, they don't just pop it on there. They go through a long kind of a question period and vetting period. I guess that's the best word. He calls it curating. And the other thing is, now you can pick up the phone. If you're interested in a car that's in Akron, Ohio, you can pick up the phone and find a mechanic and have a pre-purchase inspection. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I think anything can take the place of your personal getting in the car, driving it, getting underneath it, opening the radiator, looking at the radiator cap to see if you see any little drops of oil or something. But it's much, much safer. And I really think the internet has made the whole business of buying a collector car, your first one, a safer experience.
Well, and to your point, going through somebody that has a track record, a history of showing cars or letting people see cars that are for sale that have been vetted to the point that they can be on the internet. Nothing is absolutely 100%, but to find cars that are worthy of spending $35,000, $45,000 on, and you get it home, you don't want to have rust spots that are covered up with undercoating or something like that.
Right. Yep.
Right. There was one other point I was going to make, but I sorry. Yeah. Well, it's slipped my mind.
Well, that's okay. Believe me, we can relate.
Yeah, we slip a lot.
I forgot where I was.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to. I know what it was. One of the things that's very unique that Randy Nonnenberg really championed and has really developed is the whole vetting online, the commentators, as he calls them. That when you look at a car that's being auctioned, you're going to find a treasure trove of very informed comments about that car. Sometimes you'll find that somebody in the commenters knows the car, intimately, and those really help. And it's kind of provided a sounding board that every car that is auctioned on Bring a Trailer has to go through.
Would you say that car collecting would go all the way to the brand new cars that are just now coming off of the factory, out of the factory right now? Cars like the new Z06 Corvette, or cars that are commanding way over sticker price, and somebody's got a marker on that car. They've already registered to buy it, and the dealership is selling the car for maybe 10 grand over. Is more of an investment car. Would that be something that you would say, hey, if you've got the money, maybe check that out?
It really wouldn't be. For a number of reasons. I guess I'm just a nostalgia freak, but I really like the cars that are kind of before all the doodaddles that we see on cars now. And I think, for the kind of collectors that I know and would like to approach with my book, they're looking for a car that they can drive. They're not looking for a car that's going to vibrate when somebody passes them on the freeway, or it's a different experience. And yes, maybe some of those cars will become collectors, but they're just not what I aimed the book at.
Gotcha. And so, in other words, if the car has a touch screen in the middle of it, probably not your cup of tea, is what we're saying.
Not my cup of tea. I was sitting in a parking lot a couple of days ago, and I looked over it, and I can't even remember what kind of car it was, but good Lord, the touch screen in the middle of that console was the size of a television set.
Yes,
probably, and it's stuck up over the dashboard. And I thought,
Mustang.
That's not why I would buy a car like that. You want the wind in your hair. You want, to hear that motor. You want to feel the steering.
You like the pedigree and the patina.
Yeah.
What do you have any collector cars, Robert?
Well, right now I have 2 cars that I think would fit my description, both because they would be very reasonably priced and they're extremely well-made cars. One is first series Lexus SC300. Oh, I think you have a furry friend under the table.
Yes, we do.
It's that was a car that was made, I remember I interviewed for the Times a gentleman named Jack Keebler, who is an automotive journalist, and he was formerly a quality control team leader for General Motors. And I'll never forget what he told me. He said, when those first Lexus cars came in, we took them all apart. And he said, we took them out and we drove them. He said the tolerances inside the engines were so tight. The paint was thicker. The glass was thicker. And he said, and when you drove them, he said, I knew that a seismic event had taken place in the automotive universe.
Yep.
Huh.
And my little Lexus coupe has the original paint, the original interior. It has 250,000 miles on it. It runs like a scared rabbit.
Wow.
And they're just a great car. They're well made. They and the amount of maintenance I've done on it could be a Honda bicycle practically. Now the other car I have, and that's a car someone could buy probably for 15,000, 12,000,
yes,
10,000.
Right. Yep.
And really have a nice car and a fun car. And they even made in that model, they even made more than 1,000 models with standard transmissions.
Interesting.
Now, my other car that I would consider kind of fits the bill is a very early 1972 Mercedes-Benz 450 SL. Those cars are beautifully made, and they were the very beginning of this whole R107 series of Mercedes cars, which were made for 18 years without a panel change. And wow. I have had, Mercedes just backs up its cars so well that sometimes I've needed a part for that car, and my mechanic might order it on a Friday and we have it Monday. Well, in a previous life, I had an Alfa Romeo 2600. And
couldn't get the parts for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Once when it got damaged, a guy rolled into it in the back. It took us 5 months to get a bumper overrider.
Yep.
For the rear bumper.
Right.
There's something to be said for parts availability. And in my book, I urge people to make sure they turn that page and find out how available parts are for the car they're looking at.
Well, Robert, it's a wonderful book, and it's great to talk
really
to you and get the inside scoop on it. I want to tell everybody it's called The Next Gen Guide to Car Collecting, and we encourage everybody to check it out. Great Christmas gift, as a matter of fact, I think, for your car lover in the family. Robert, it's great to talk to you. Have a wonderful day out there in the Bay Area, and we'll be dreaming of you.
Okay, thank you very much for your interest.
Thank
you.
you. Robert C. Yeager, introduction to car collecting, and good stuff. All right, time now for the events calendar. You want to do that?
I've got
or just
the events calendar.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and
All
do
right,
that
Saturday,
for us.
October 29th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Guitars and Cars and Wings Over Houston Air Show, which is always a good event here in the big city. Saturday, October 29th, 10 a.m. to noon, is the R&R Fall Festival and Car Show. It's at 28000 Southwest Freeway in Rosenberg. Sunday, October 30th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Cy Woods FFA Car Show, Cypress Fairbanks Exhibit Center. We all know where that is. Saturday, November 5th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., the Klein Band Car Show, Klein High School. Go out and support them. It's for the band. November 5th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Corvettes Invade SVRA Weekend. So, and that's at Circuit of the Americas, which there's an event, of course, at COTA. Saturday, November 12th, 5 a.m., the Vet Fest Car and Bike Showdown, the Warriors Refuge. And I don't have a location on that, but I'm sure we can touch base with Conrad on that as well.
Right.
December 10th, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., Christmas in Katy Car Show at the Bryant Elementary School in Katy, Texas. There you go.
Thank you, sir. Time now for this hour's car review. Mr. Mars had a chance to drive the Mercedes-Benz C-Class 300 sedan. Mr. Mars?
Yes, sir. I did. 2022 Mercedes-Benz C300 4MATIC sedan, which means it's the all-wheel drive model. So this is, we were driving the premium trim level, fully redesigned for 2022. I didn't realize that this vehicle, this level of vehicle or the size vehicle, the small luxury sedan, has been around for about 30 years. And it seats 5 passengers. And we had a couple of different things on this vehicle, but up front we had the grille, the rear diffuser, and the side mirrors, and the acoustic glass on this vehicle were all part of the AMG Night package option that's available.
Wow.
You know, the borrowing from the AMG class.
Night, N-I-G-H-T or K-N-I-G-H-T?
Nighttime.
Nighttime.
Like dark nighttime.
Yep.
Had the rain-sensing wipers. Had the optional black 19-inch wheels, which is, again, an AMG option that they borrowed across from their cousins over there. So it's a really nice-looking sedan, kind of sporty-looking, but not really getting off into the AMG world. So it's got kind of a classic look to it. You go inside of it, of course, now we're talking about Mercedes-Benz. We got leather seating surfaces. We have metal trim that's infused with wood, or maybe it's wood infused with
Whatever.
metal. Anyway, It's really nice looking. It's very different looking. Got some great ambient lighting because it's hidden. It comes on and you realize it's on, but you don't really see it except for that it's there. One of the other good things I really liked about this, we had a 12.9-inch digital cluster that had all the gauges for all the driver and everything.
That's a real cluster.
Yeah, it is. And then you go over to the side of that, then there's an 11.9-inch touchscreen that has all your convenience controls, all your infotainment, etc. We also had the heads-up display. So you put all this stuff together, so you got lots of stuff there for the driver to work with and to see. And we had a power tilt sunroof. We had a Burmeister premium surround system.
Burmeister.
Burmeister. Yeah, that's
Is that a beer or?
Burmeister.
Burmeister.
Oh,
The other thing I had,
Oktoberfest.
they had it was really good. They had the wireless Apple Connect, the Android, and it had the wireless charging in it. It worked really well, and I'm really glad to see these wireless chargers starting to come up to where I don't have to take the case off my phone to make things work. So up under the hood, had a 2.0 inline turbo hybrid system, a mild hybrid system. This is a 48-volt mild hybrid system that several people have come up with so that the electric motor kind of helps it get started, helps it during the shift points. So it's kind of a little booster type thing, and it equates out to 255 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. It's backed by a 9-speed automatic. Now, the EPA says you should be looking for 23 in the city, 33 out on the highway, and combined 27, which for a sedan, a 4-door sedan, that's a nice mileage range. I did get 26 miles per gallon out of it over 213 miles because it's got a very refined power band to it, if you will. The turbo comes in. You don't hear it. You don't see it. You don't feel it, but it does work whenever you need it to work. The thing I didn't care about on it, the start-stop, I thought it needed a little bit more refining. Some of the cars here recently that we've had the chance to drive, it's very seamless with the start-stop. This one kind of really stood out. Anyway, it also had the AMG suspension, so it does have a little bit firmer ride than you might want for a Mercedes-Benz. But again, if you want this type of car to get a little more driving experience out of it, this is something you're going to want. And it's also very quiet. It's got the acoustic glass in it, and with all the other things that Mercedes-Benz puts in it, it was remarkably quiet, so that when that Burmeister stereo kicked in and you wanted to really crank up some AC/DC or something, it was nice. Worked really well.
AC/DC.
Hey, you do what you got to. It's a test. We're doing research here. Now, the base trim price on this.
You don't listen to AC/DC. You're a Jimmy Buffett guy.
It's not on the Jimmy Buffett channel.
Morning, there are times when AC/DC is what you want.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, that's what you've been drinking too much.
I'm fascinated with the Beermeister. Get me a Beermeister.
The base trim price on this vehicle is $45,550, but we had a few options on it, including the packages from AMG, which really is some really nice options to add to it. Now, that did push the MSRP price up to $58,470. So if you're looking for something to compare this to, you might look over at the BMW 3 Series, which is going to start around that $41,450. Audi A4 starts at $39,900, and the Lexus IS 300 is at $39,000. So the starting price is all in there about the same for these vehicles, but depends on how you want to option them up as to what your final price is going to be.
Yep.
And if I was really looking for a sedan that I really liked a lot that was quiet, and I would have to look at this
good-looking car.
one.
It is. Very nice car.
All right, thank you. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeart Radio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. We also stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com, and podcasts are at your fingertips, one every day from your favorite podcast source. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Starting to work on your Christmas calendar? Be sure to add the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In Saturday, December 17th. You'll want to attend Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition at the Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. It's the only place cruisers compete for Loopy's Chili Pepper trophies and other prizes. There's no charge to enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, or Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest and most unique cruise-in, and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods. And get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos with adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for those much sought-after custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. It's the Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition, Saturday, December 17th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate the Christmas season with friends and family at Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, December 17th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. Want to take a minute to tell you about Gulf Coast Auto Shield, a Houston detail company like no other. Gulf Coast Auto Shield offers paint correction services that'll give your car, truck, or SUV a like-new shine. Afterwards, you'll want to protect it with a professionally installed nano-ceramic coating or protection film. Worried about your very expensive windshield getting damaged, broken, or cracked? Let Gulf Coast Auto Shield install ExoShield, a windshield protection film. Give John Gray a call today or check out their website, gcautoshield.com. Hey, whether you own a new, ultra-expensive, exotic, or a 5-year-old Suburban, Gulf Coast Auto Shield will help keep your investment looking like the day it rolled off the assembly line. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is conveniently located on the South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of I-69, the Southwest Freeway. Meet the staff and check out all of their services online right now at gcautoshield.com. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Real Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Real Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/InRealTimeCarTalk.